Dana, come on down.
When UVA law student Dana Tapper appeared on the Ellen DeGeneres show in 2013,
but Dana has been steadfast in her commitment to helping those less fortunate.
She talked about being the first in her family to go to college and how she didn't want to work at a big corporate law firm when she graduated, instead hoping to help those in the juvenile justice system.
The only reason I came to law school is to work with kids.
DeGeneres rewarded Tapper for her passion, giving her $20,000 courtesy of Shutterfly.
And then also to go with it, they want to give you another $10,000.
Now, roughly 5 years later, Tapper faces charges for allegedly giving an inmate at the Riverside Regional Jail a cell phone and drugs. The Commonwealth's attorney in Prince George says it happened in December and that the case remains under investigation. While nearly all documents related to the case are sealed and the prosecutor declined to name the inmate, Crime Insider sources tell CBS 6 Tapper did visit one inmate hundreds of times in jail, smuggled him drugs, and even had sex with him behind bars. Although we don't know the name of that particular inmate,
that's many hours.
We uncovered records that show what CBS 6 legal analyst Todd Stone calls Tapper's unusual history of appearing in court for inmates she was not representing.
It's understandable why there's an investigation, because investigations often begin when they see smoke and they look for the fire.
The first involves Karan Porter, who last year was found guilty of leading state police on a high-speed chase back in 2013, a chase that ended when Porter crashed into a car and killed a 73-year-old Marine veteran. CBS 6 obtained a log from Riverside Regional Jail that shows Tapper made 38 professional visits to Porter over a year and a half. This November 2016 transcript from what was scheduled to be the first day of Porter's retrial in Chesterfield shows Tapper showed up that day and asked to address the court, even though she was not Porter's attorney. She said she had spent several hundred hours on Porter's case, many of them with Porter, and said his current counsel was ineffective. However, she did not request to become his attorney.
I can usually meet with someone in an hour and I get everything done. So we're talking like several hundred visits on my timetable.
Stone says spending so many hours with an inmate is highly unusual outside of a capital murder case.
And she's not even representing him, which is what makes it so odd.
We also learned that Tapper raised some eyebrows in Henrico when she spoke as a witness on behalf of convicted felon and gang member Damian King. King was in court for a bond hearing in September of 2016 on charges that he broke into a man's home and shot him. Prosecutors said King's blood was found at the scene. We listened to an audio recording of Tapper's testimony at his bond hearing. She said she had met King through a friend that ran the Legal Aid Justice Center's Rise for Youth program. Tapper said King worked for her at her law practice in Richmond and described King as her right hand, saying he was tapped into the juvenile network and gave her access to those clients. King's attorney asked Tapper if she had any concerns about working with King going forward, considering his current charges related to the shooting, and Tapper answered absolutely not. We asked Stone if defense attorneys typically appear as witnesses for inmates.
There's nothing wrong with it, but it's not something that you see very commonly.
He also said hiring a convicted gang member to work in your law office raises some concerns.
It could be a potential danger zone for a lawyer to have someone like that working in their office.
The judge ended up not granting King bond, and he ultimately pleaded guilty in the case. He now faces gun trafficking charges out of Brooklyn.
We contacted the Legal Aid Justice Center to find out if they had in fact introduced Dana Tapper to Damian King. They said no, and to their knowledge, Damian King had never been involved with their organization. Henrico Deputy Commonwealth's Attorney Mike Feinmel says his office is aware of the apparent misrepresentation of facts to the court, and they are conducting an investigation. Tapper is scheduled to go on trial in Prince George County in August. Working for you, I'm Melissa Hippolyte for CBS 6.
Problem Solvers Investigations, every Tuesday and Wednesday at 11 on CBS 6 News.